Hey guys, today I am making Briar Beauty from Ever After High. I'm making this cake as part of a collaboration with a bunch of amazing food YouTubers. We are all using different styles of a Wilton silicone mold. I've gone for the Baroque theme, but there are so many different creations and you guys are going to absolutely love checking out those videos. So the first thing that I did to prep for this cake was of course to get myself a Briar Beauty. We love Ever After High and I just thought that she looked so stunning and just really couture with those gorgeous ruffles and the ombre effect. And I thought it would go perfectly with this gorgeous Baroque Wilton mold. I also have a couple of cake boards, an 8-inch round cake plate and a 10-inch round cake board. Lots and lots of cake. I've baked a 6, a 7 and an 8-inch round and I have cut them into 2 layers each of 1 inch high. As well as that, I have some of our sweet buttercream recipe and I've just tinted it in a beautiful shade of pink. And I also have the usual spatula, knives and some round cookie cutters. I'm going to use those in a couple of different ways. Firstly, it's going to be to help make some room for our Briar to fit into her dress. And later on, we're going to be using it to create a gorgeous ombre pattern in our fondant. So a little bit of buttercream, pop our first layer on, and then add some beautiful buttercream. Okay, now when I add my next layer on, I'm also going to go ahead and make a hole for her, taking a cookie cutter and just cutting through the middle. Add some more buttercream, and before we add our next layer, just go ahead and cut out that hole again. And pop our last layer on. So I want to start by just shaving down little bits on the edge, just to make it line up nice and straight. I'm keeping this fairly chunky here at the moment because I want this to be a little bit more bellowing than some of our other doll cakes. And you just want to gradually go around the top and just shave it into a nice curve. Now it's time to add a nice thin crumb coat to the entire cake. So what I want to do now is go ahead and start making some little fondant sausages that I'm going to use to help get the shape of the dress. We have that section that stays quite flat, that has the rows and the details on it, but the rest of it, we want it to have some really nice soft folds. So I'm going to roll out some bits of fondant that start off thinner and get a little bit thicker as you go, and just apply a little bit of buttercream to help it stick. Now they don't have to be straight, you can get a little bit of movement. And you want some of them to be thicker and thinner than the rest. And now go ahead and apply a little bit thicker buttercream over the entire cake. I start by going in between the fondant and then over the top of it, just to make it sticky enough for the other fondant to attach. Now it's time to transfer it onto the cake board. Now I have 5 different shades of the same pinky purple and I'm going to be using that to create the really cool ombre effect for this skirt. So taking out my first palest colour, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a knead and then shape it into a bit of a circle, pressing down. Then take my next colour, again give it a bit of a knead, and then I'm going to use a small rolling pin just to roll it out a little. And then lay it over the top. Take our third colour, use a little bit of corn flour so it doesn't stick. And then I'm going to take a cookie cutter and cut out a chunk in the middle. And that will allow me to stretch it and give it a slight roll just to make it nice and big. And smoosh that in. And this is going to give us a really cool ombre. Again, cut out a circle and roll it a touch. And then our last colour. And pop that on top. Now I'm going to give it a little bit of a roll this way, just to help them to attach. And then we're going to take the whole thing, pry it up, add a nice amount of corn flour or cornstarch, and then bring the entire piece over and give it a roll with our large rolling pin. Pick it up from time to time and just move it around. And just roll it out. Okay, now that that's all rolled out, I'm going to take a rolling pin, slide it over, take our cake and drape it over. Smooth it down to start with. And then you want to work on finding out where your plain section is, the spot where you want it to be nice and smooth. You want to go ahead and do that immediately. Once you've got that, you can shape around all those little sausages of fondant. I'm going to go around and cut off a fair bit of the excess. I'm going to cut out the middle section while it's still soft, and that way it won't cause any cracking. I'm going to come around with an X-Acto or craft knife and just start to cut away some of the bits. Have some folded over. Okay, now that we have that, it's time to start working on this middle section. Then take some black fondant, roll the ball, and press it into the rose mold. Push to remove the excess. Don't worry that it's fraying at the edges just yet, because we will fix that. And then draw it all back in. Make sure it still reaches the edge, but it's just not fraying anymore. It's nice and soft. And curve the mat and remove it. And I'm going to place that onto the cake on just an angle. Now I'm going to choose one of the scrolls, go all the way over it, and again push it out. Don't worry, your hands get very messy, it's okay. Pull it back in and then bend the mold and remove. I want to place this under the rose. I want to take one of the large scrolls now and just guide it so that it's all the way in and push out. And don't be afraid to have them overlap each other and add some dimension. Got these gorgeous hearts as well. A leaf there, and then bring that over the top. Now this mold also has these gorgeous pearls. So I'm going to roll a sausage, press it down, scrape off the excess, flip it out of the mold, and it's the perfect size to form a beautiful border around here. And then do another one for the other side. Now for the bodice, I want to roll some black fondant out, 2 1 centimetre wide strips. Starting on the waist, I'm just going to wrap around and secure it. Start at the back again, this time wrap the other way and secure it under her arms. And this is a really easy way to make it attach fast so that you don't have to do it beforehand. Giving a squeeze around the waist and going all the way around with your entire finger and thumb, and you'll find that that will smooth out those wraps that we did. And now it will look like it's been perfectly wrapped around and is completely seamless. This is the great thing about black fondant being a little bit stickier, is that you can achieve this easy look super fast. Now for a beautiful accent, I'm going to take some of our pink, roll it out, give it a trim halfway through, and I'm going to make a really simple ribbon rose. Flick up the edge and just roll and roll. You can pull it and stop whenever you want, and you've got a delicate, beautiful little rose. Now I'm going to make this even skinnier, just so that it attaches really nicely to her. And I'm just going to place that in the center of her bodice. And that will give her a lovely little accent. Now it's time to place her into her gorgeous dress. And then to finish her off, I'm just going to make a bunch of those ribbon roses. Cut each piece in half, because you really want to use the side that's curled and not cut, because that makes the best roses. And when you're ready, apply with some water or sugar glue. And there you go, we have our gorgeous Briar Beauty. I really loved making her. I love the ombre of the dress, and I especially loved using the Wilton molds to create that black rose and all of the scroll and piping work. It just matched her so perfectly. And I would love for you guys to check out the rest of the playlist. There is so many other foodie YouTubers that have been working with the different silicone molds. Thanks for watching, guys, and subscribe to our channel for more videos.